Hey fandom, how's it going? So today I'm going to be doing Q&A. You guys left your comments in the previous video that I had up there, and now I'm going to be answering your questions that you left. I'm going to start with Crazy Fun TV Movie Guy. He says, who do you overall prefer, DC or Marvel? I personally prefer DC, but that's me. What is your favorite graphic novel or trade? Mine is Watchmen, but of course that is typical and from hell. Who are your top 5 comic book heroes? Mine are Batman, Green Lantern, Spider-Man, Jonah Hex, and John Constantine. Right off the bat, dude, you threw me under the bus with the DC and Marvel question. I love it. I love it. I grew up as a Marvel kid, to be honest with you, and that's kind of carried over into me as an adulthood. So I am a bit of a Marvel fanboy. Yes, I do love Marvel. However, and I am getting better at this, I do not have any bias towards DC. I just generally feel, hey, if the comic is good, if the characters are good, if the writing is good, I'm definitely going to pick it up. I'm definitely going to check it out. Doesn't matter. I'm not one of those guys that'll defend one company over the other, because both companies have their faults, both companies have their good stuff. So yeah, there's that. I hope I was able to answer your question the best that I can on that one. Let's see. Favorite graphic novel? Ooh, man. Off the top of my head, when I think graphic novel, I think just a standalone graphic novel, something that doesn't really have anything else connected to it. But off the top of my head, ooh, you put me in a corner here. You know what? I'm going to cheat on this, and I'm going to go with All-Star Superman. All-Star Superman, even though it technically wasn't an official, just released graphic novel, I know. It was a series of comics that were released. All-Star Superman is something that is personally held deeply in my heart as somebody who has struggled with depression my whole life and things like that, and somebody who has been dealing with that my whole life. That issue 10, I believe it was issue 10, with the young girl who she is just like hanging by the side of the building, and then Superman comes over and he says, you're stronger than you think you are. Oh my gosh, that broke me. All-Star Superman is just, it's up there. It's one of those where every time I read it, I get something new out of it. I just love it so much. Top 5 comic book heroes. Right off the bat, Daredevil, Batman. That is going to be stereotypical. I'm going to throw John Constantine in there because I love John Constantine. I think he's friggin' awesome. John Constantine. Ooh, Ben Grimm. I really like Ben Grimm. He's awesome, especially if you read kind of the classic Kirby stuff. And as a number 5, let me think. Let's see. I'm just going to try to go a little obscure with number 5. And say Molly from The Runaways. I think Molly's pretty awesome from The Runaways, to be honest with you. Even though she's not as prominent as she used to be, I really dug the character of her in The Runaways. So, hope that helps. Camilo Gary. Hey, dude, you're awesome. I've seen you comment a lot. I appreciate it. Thanks for the feedback all the time. Question. Favorite independent comic of all time? Favorite DC Marvel hero to read? And first comic that got the hobby started, and your holy grail of your collection. Okay, so let's see. Favorite independent comic? I'm going to go with Y the Last Man. Y the Last Man is a series that actually got me started really collecting heavily into comics. It's a series that when it came out, I had heard so much about it. Everybody's talking about, yeah, you should read Y, you should read Y. It's definitely one of those series where you need to pick up. I didn't know how much that it would affect me personally reading Y, and that ending is just one of those endings that has stuck with me so much that I think it's just up there, really. But I'm going to cheat also on this one and say that there are some days where I would actually put Preacher on top of Y the Last Man as my favorite independent book, because Preacher is just one of those stories that is so great, and once you finish reading it, you're like, oh man, I really wanted more of that. So I'm throwing Preacher in there. Okay, favorite DC Marvel hero to read? I've said it on this channel before, Daredevil. I love Daredevil. Daredevil's freaking awesome. He's one of my favorite characters of all time. Definitely love that character. Ooh, first comic that got the hobby started. Ooh, okay. Let's see. I'm going to say Spider-Man 2099. I'm throwing it back. Spider-Man 2099 was a comic that really got me hooked on comics. Even though I fell off a little bit after that, but Spider-Man 2099 was a comic that is really near and dear to my heart, believe it or not, even though it's, not exactly that amazing. But it was at a point where my parents were just getting divorced, and I'm really getting personal on this video, I just realized that. It was at a point where my parents were just getting divorced, and I had to go, because of the divorce, they wanted me to seek therapy and everything with my brother. So we went to get therapy, and then after therapy, my mom's like, hey, I'm going to take you to the comic shop. You can pick one comic out of the whole shop. And I just saw Spider-Man 2099. It kind of had like the real glossy red cover outing on the outside. I'm going to put a picture of it here. And I was like, ooh, that's really cool. I want to check that out. So that really what got me the bug. Then a few years later, what really got me heavy into it, believe it or not, is Walking Dead. I went with a buddy of mine to the local comic shop here, Coliseum of Comics, and I picked up a Walking Dead trade because he recommended it. He's like, dude, you need to read this. Walking Dead is awesome. You need to read Walking Dead. It's freaking amazing. And I'm like, okay, well, what is this? And then the first thing I looked at, I'm like, it's in black and white. He goes, yeah, it's in black and white. I'm like, they have it in color? I'm like, come on, man. He's like, no, read it. So what he did was that he gave me he bought me the first trade, and I'm like, holy crap, this is great. And he goes, yeah, here you go. And he gave me a flash drive full of the other Walking Dead issues. I am not promoting piracy at this point, by the way. But he gave me a flash drive of all the Walking Dead issues that have been out at that time, and I just, probably in like the span of a week, flew through about 50 some odd issues of it. I just couldn't get enough of it. So, let's see. So that was really kind of what really got me the bug to collect heavily. And the Holy Grail in my collection, oh, dude, there's a lot. Let me see. This is going to be a long video, by the way, guys. If you stick through this. The Holy Grail, I'm going to go with Parker the Martini edition. And not so much because of the fact that it's rare to find or anything like that, just because of the fact that Darwin Cook was actually cool enough to do a sketch inside of it. And I'm planning to do another video of it. I'm going to re-edit the video that I did before. And he just did a cool sketch inside of it for free, and that was really awesome. Plus, the Parker Martini edition is amazing. It's so great. So, and that's that one. Irish Knight. Hey, what's up, man? Irish Knight. What's your thought on Grant Morrison's Batman run? I'm really thinking about reading through it. I'm a huge Batman fan. I watched the animated show in the 90s. Have whole show on box sets, read No Man's Land, Hush, Long Halloween, Dark Victory, One Kill, but I never read any Morrison. But he seems interesting and appealing. What is your opinion on it? Should I go for it? Grant Morrison's Batman run is a bit of a mixed bag for me. I think Batman and Son and Black Glove are really good reading, but you do need to know a little bit of the continuity before you jump into something like that. Grant Morrison's a great writer, but he thinks so big sometimes, and sometimes it kind of falls flat on his face. I don't think he always sticks the landing. I do love Morrison, but I really do think as a starting point you should not, if you've never read Morrison, I don't really recommend you start with his Batman run, because he's got a unique writing style that I don't think a lot of people are used to. I would recommend you actually start with his Animal Man run. I think that is a perfect place to start with Morrison. Let's see. But overall, I do think his Batman run is pretty good. I do think it's pretty good. I think it peaks out personally for me. So far, I haven't finished reading it, at Batman and Robin. I think that is probably the best part of the series, and I'm going to make my way through right now. I just finished Batman and Robin, and I'm going to make my way through Batman Inc. right now, which is the ending of his series. I'm really excited about that, and I am going to review the Absolute, by the way. Let's see. Flaming Jelly Beans. Cool name, dude. Congrats on the subs. Thought I'd contribute to a future Q&A video. When did you first start collecting? Probably 7 years ago? Hardcore collecting? About 7 years ago. How many oversized hardcover omnibus absolute editions do you own? Hold on one sec. So I had to actually go back and count them. I have 80 deluxe, counting everything, 80 deluxe absolute omnibus hardcovers, like 80 just deluxe. That's not including regular hardcovers and things like that. That's just deluxe stuff. And not including trade paperbacks. I have a lot of trade paperbacks. Adam West, what's up, dude? Completely true points that are about comic shop. What is your favorite game developer / publishing house? Game developer, I'm going to go with, at the moment, Naughty Dog. I love Naughty Dog. Everything that Naughty Dog puts out, I really do love those guys. I think they are just one of those studios that is at the top of their game. Last of Us happens to be a game that is just friggin', I think, awesome. I love Last of Us. To put me in that world, I think that is really special. I think also, I'm blanking on the name right now. I know I shouldn't, but that studio that made BioShock Infinite, I'm a huge fan of Ken Levine and his work from System Shock. BioShock Infinite and just BioShock was, it was coming out at a time, BioShock, when I was just really getting into hardcore gaming and things like that. But BioShock, when that twist at the end happens, it just, blew my mind when I first heard it. I was like, oh my god, this is freaking amazing. It was really cool. So, alright, so Thomas Lunger asked, what do you think about Deadpool? I think Deadpool's a really cool character. I think he's better used sparingly, although I do really enjoy his Gary Dugan and Brian Posehn run recently. I think that's been really fun. Yeah, I had to adjust the camera for a little bit. I think he's a really cool character, like I said. He was really used best for me with Rick Remender and Uncanny X-Force based upon what I read. He was kind of the comedic relief / the heart of the team, which was kind of crazy when you think about it. Deadpool being the heart of a certain team. So I thought that was really cool. Gail F. I want to read Marvel Now, All New X-Men. Should I read also Uncanny X-Men, Uncanny Avengers, and Wolverine and the X-Men to enjoy and understand everything? Are these 4 series good? Let's see. I would actually say you should be reading All New X-Men and Uncanny X-Men. You do not need to read Uncanny Avengers or Wolverine and the X-Men beforehand to enjoy them. All you need to know is that Charles Xavier died in Avengers vs. X-Men. And All New X-Men and Uncanny X-Men, you should read them both at the same time because they do tie in heavily so much because they're both written by Brian Michael Bendis. So, yeah, you should definitely get those. So, those are actually pretty good books. I do think that the time travel story that they've got going on, though, it's kind of dragged on a bit too much for my taste. So, let's see what else. If you read Justice League New 52, have I read Justice League New 52? Here's the thing, I have not, believe it or not, and this is probably something you guys are going to beat me up in the comment section for, but I have not read Justice League New 52 at the time. So it's one of those where I plan to, but I just never got around to it, even though I heard Throne of Atlantis is actually pretty cool. Which is your favorite Marvel Now book? Currently, right now, it varies, but right now I'd have to say it's Miss Marvel. Does she count as a Marvel Now book? Okay, if she doesn't count as a Marvel Now book, then I'm going to go with, let me think. I've really been enjoying Uncanny Avengers by Rick Remender. I think it's a pretty fun series. So, especially since I loved so much Uncanny X-Force that carries over the storyline a lot. So I really enjoyed that. What is your favorite DC Comics New 52 book? Currently, I'm going to go with the obvious answer and say Scott Snyder's Batman. However, not the obvious answer. I'm going to go with Charles Soule's Swamp Thing. I think Soule's been doing really great stuff, and I think he's actually writing the best Swamp Thing I've read since Alan Moore's run. And I think he's actually done better with the character than Scott Snyder did. And I really like the guy's writing, so I think it's pretty cool. Okay, next one. I am living in Saudi Faris Said. I'm sorry, guys, by the way, if I butcher these names. Please, I'm really sorry. I'm living in Saudi Arabia, and we don't have any comic shops, even and I have to import it through mostly the U.S. Is there a solution to import cheaply? I like physical, not digital. Sorry, man. You got me on that one. I really don't know like what the importing or other stores overseas. I'm really sorry about that. I wish I could help you. Sorry, man. I feel bad for that one. The comic book aesthete. Again, sorry if I messed it wrong. What is your top 10 favorite online comic book stores? Congratulations on surpassing 500 subs. Marvelous achievement. I don't really have top 10 online comic book stores. I mostly just stick to, if I had to say number 1, it's definitely going to be in-stock trades, followed by cheap graphic novels, discount comic book services. Midtown is pretty good. I've used them once or twice. Comixology is the digital service, so I'm going to count that on there, where you could just get digital comics. Which, by the way, I am planning to do a video of digital comics versus regular comics, hardcovers and everything like that. So, Comixology is really good. And skipping all the way down the list, Amazon. Amazon would probably be my last resort, just because of the shady packaging, even though I do have the Prime shipping where it gets here fast. So if I really want to get my buzz and I really want to get, oh man, I really can't wait for a series, I'll probably go through Amazon or just visit my local shop. Let's see. Hold on, I think I messed up a little bit. Make sure everybody gets credit. Jose Abel Gomez. What made you want to do videos, and what is your favorite anime? I'm going to say my favorite anime is, I'm going to go stereotypical here, and say Cowboy Bebop. I really love Cowboy Bebop. Spike is such a cool character. I like Cowboy Bebop, and I also like Akira. Akira has a special place in my heart, simply because it was kind of the anime that got me hooked on anime. And yeah, so I really dug that. I really dug that movie when it came out. What made me want to do these videos? I really wanted to help out people that really wanted to break into comics, and I took a look in my room one day and I said, you know, I have a lot of books here. Why don't I do something with it? You know, why don't I do something constructive? Why don't I help somebody else out? And so I started doing these videos, and I think it's pretty cool too. And it's kind of like a side thing. I love editing. I love putting these things up and kind of branching out and meeting people from around the country and around the world that have these same kind of things. And they really enjoy them too. Nova reviews. Hey man. If the Marvel Universe did reboot, would you be super excited or slightly annoyed? Okay, this comes after the news that maybe they're rebooting that they announced yesterday. I would be mixed emotions, to be honest with you. I'm gonna go with I'd be more excited probably than annoyed, to be honest. I think a reboot is good for a few things. You are gonna lose people along the way for the reboot, but you're also getting new readers. It's gonna be a good jumping on point for a lot of people. It'll give the company a chance to kind of experiment with typical tropes and try new things. We saw kind of DC flounder a little bit. I think they kind of botched it with the New 52. They kind of jumped in head first. I don't think they had much of a plan with it. So I think that's going to be good. I am, yes and no, excited about it. I'm excited in the sense that that we are going to get a new continuity. It'll be new books. It'll be something new to try. I'm disappointed in the fact that the old continuity is not going to exist, and I do love that stuff. Being, like I said earlier, that I am a Marvel kid. So. James Dang, is there any book in your collection that you've been meaning to read but haven't? Which book has been on your shelf the longest, which you haven't touched? Off the top of my head, I'm going to say Jeff Johns' Teen Titans Omnibus. I've heard great things about Jeff Johns' run. I have not gotten a chance to crack that open yet, and it seems like it's one of those books where I constantly have a new book, I constantly have a new omnibus that I want to read or that I want to, you know, check out or review or something like that, and it's one of those books that always, well, maybe I'll get back to it someday, you know. And that kind of disappoints me, to be honest with you. I am definitely planning, once I finish the JSA omnibus for Jeff Johns, the two that I have right now, that I am going to try and crack open the Teen Titans omnibus by Jeff Johns. So hopefully I'll get to that because that's a massive one. And I think that is all the questions that I've gotten. So great questions, guys. Awesome. Hit 500 subscribers. That's kind of why I did this. I plan to do more Q&A videos. If you guys have any other questions that you'd like to ask, leave them in the comment section below. And maybe, you know, once a month or something like that, I can make this a more regular thing. Yeah, actually, I think I'm going to commit to that. Once a month I'll do, if you guys will leave me questions in the comment sections, I'll kind of collect the best that I can and I'll answer them. So, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think.